Is this a new tactic Russia is using to fight Ukraine? Now, according to the news we are getting from CBN, there are over 30,000 children kidnapped by Russia. Now, according to the interview which was conducted by CBN News, this is how the children were kidnapped.
Я тоді навчався в ліцеї.
One day, some of my teachers came and said that all of us should be going to Crimea to the camp. Then I went home, and that day in the evening, the Russian military came to my house and said that you had no choice, you're going.
According to the interview, these children were forced to love Russia in this camp, and also they were forced to sing anthem for Russia and even other songs which belong to Russia. Some of them resisted not to sing. Some of them, they decided to resist even more than 3 times, but they faced the wrath.
They forced children to love Russia in these camps. They forced children to sing and to learn Russian anthem and Russian songs. And if you resist, if you wouldn't do it, they could punish you or even to put you in some foster family in Russia.
Some say that after the camp, they were moved to occupy a city and they were forced to go to some college there, and they knew that they were going to get them Russian passport, and they were looking for foster family for them. This is according to the news that we are getting from this interview in CBN.
After the camp, I was moved to occupied city Genichisk, and I was forced to go to some college there, and I knew that they were going to get me a Russian passport, and they were looking for foster family for me.
Now, one of them was suffering from psychological abuse a lot of time, because when teachers and caregivers and also psychologists there knew that her mom was going to come and bring her back, and all this period they were like pressuring him that it was all a lie, that their mom would come, that their mom isn't so much money to come, meaning that the mom ain't no money to come to that camp. So the psychologists and caregivers and also teachers, they knew this.
I was suffering from psychological abuse a lot of time, because when teachers, caregivers and psychologists there knew that my mom was going to come and bring me back, all this period they were like pressuring on me that it was all lie, that my mom wouldn't come.
So they were affected so much because of this kidnap that happened to them. Also, Dennis, he said that a staff came to me and said if I would agree to be Russia and I would obey Russia, I just would die in this camp because of my disease. So he was denied to get medicine that was supposed to cure him a disease that he had. And this is one of the problems they faced while they are there in that camp.
There was an accident when this Astahov came to me and said if I wouldn't obey to Russia, I just would die in this camp because of my disease.
Now, this is one of the men who faced a great problem when he refused to sing the national anthem, Russian national anthem. This is his story.
Now, for the first time, you must write an explanational paper why you don't want to sing the Russian anthem. If you refuse for the second time, you will be having this private conversation with this policeman Astahov. If you refuse for the third time, you will be put in some solitary confinement.
Now, you hear from him, he said that if I say no for the first time, you must write an explanation why you don't want to sing the Russian national anthem. He explained that. And also he added that if you refuse for the second time, you will be having this private conversation with the policeman. If you refuse for the third time, now that is when the wrath came. You will be put in some solitary confinement. And you see, they were isolated from other people and be put to solitary confinement. Now, is that refusal led to more than 2 weeks in solitary confinement because of refusing singing Russian national anthem? Now, this is the stories of thousands of Ukrainian children. Ukrainian has identified at least 30,000 who have been deported to Russia, but it's feared that number is actually much higher. This is according to CBN News, from the news that they got from interviewing these children. Now, according to Mykola Kulebe, who is told CBN, he said, "We can't identify all the kids who have been kidnapped from Mariupol or from another occupied territory because parents were killed or imprisoned or killed or disappeared, and Russia don't want to give us any information about these children. So they kill their parents. After killing their parents, they take the children."
Because we can't identify a lot of kids who've been kidnapped from Mariupol or from another occupied territories whose parents were killed or imprisoned or disappeared, and Russia don't want to give us any information about these children.
So it's like they are taking the future of their Ukraine. Every child they come across, they take them and they put them into Russia. They take them to school. They teach them Russian songs. They teach them national anthem, and they teach them everything to do with Russia. That is how the Russia has become very wild while it is fighting with Ukraine. Now, according to this, Mykola Kulembe, he said that Russia is committing genocide, and he added that kidnapping children, deporting children, and brainwashing them and weaponizing them, all children who live now in occupied territory or in Russia Federation, horribly brainwashing them.
We are telling that Russia committing genocide, kidnapping children, deporting children, and brainwashing them and weaponizing them. All children who live now on occupied territory or in Russia Federation, horribly brainwashing. They give children passports, Russian passports, birth certificates. They adopting children after giving them Russian citizenship. All this system works for erasing identity, for converting Ukrainian children to Russian children, and then weaponize them through their different military movement.
Now, this is the kind of erasing the identity from Ukraine. So they are making them to be their own. They are taking them completely from Russia, from Ukraine, and making them to belong to Russia. They give children passports, Russian passports, birth certificates. They adopt children after giving them Russian citizenship. So after they have done everything which is according to their constitution, which is giving them passports, Russian passports, birth certificates, and any other thing, now they start adopting them as Russian citizens. And all this system works for erasing identity. So you'll find that if the child was small, in the future will be not able to identify whether he or she belongs to Ukraine. Now this converting Ukrainian children to Russian children, and then you weaponize them through their different military movements. That is how they'll be using them. According to Lisa, now this is how they escaped from this camp where they were taken. Listen.
My mom came to me to bring me back, and she was forced to sign lots of papers. They were checking her. I was happy. I ran to her to hug her. I was crying. And then after that, there was a very long and hard road home.
Now, the rescue actually was done in a way that the other people or the other, let's say the people who are guarding that camp could not understand or could not know there's something which is happening like that. Now, the specific details of their rescue have to be kept private. Kulebe calls it an underground railroad. So there is no any information which was given out. It was just underground that was run. All the things which which we have seen here be interviewed, are now receiving rehabilitation at Safe Ukraine's Hope and Healing Center, which offers a 6-month program to help them and their families get back on their feet. They came to Washington with Safe Ukraine to raise awareness for the thousands of other children still being held. Now, this is what Klebe said. We are asking everybody who could help us help Ukraine win the horrible war and pray for us. Now, according to the hunger of GCNews, now he said this: we have UN, which has fight, which should ensure that this fight is stopped. According to him, he said that UN has forced Israel with Hamas to stop the fight. But now the same thing is happening in Ukraine and Russia. But the UN is not forcing the Russia and Ukraine to stop this fighting, because whatever is happening here, it's the same happened in Israel and also Hamas. Now, according to him, Hamas started the fight to Israel. Also, kidnapping happened. Hamas did the same. Now, according to him, Russia is the one started the fight to Ukraine. The same thing, their kidnapping is Russia, which is kidnapping. Russia is the one which is ending to Ukraine territory.
The story points out the obvious hypocrisy of the UN. Where is the call for ceasefire here? If you're going to call Israel into a ceasefire when they were viciously attacked on October 7th, why aren't you calling Russia into a ceasefire? When Russia takes children hostages and takes them into their country, under international law, that is a war crime. Where is the cry for that? Where are we seeing that on the international stage? Where are we seeing nations say, I'm withdrawing our ambassadors? What you have done is against international law. Until you stop, we're not going to have relations with you. We're going to cancel all our contracts. We're going to withhold trade. We're going to do all these things. That's what's currently happening to Israel, and they weren't the aggressor. Who committed the war crimes? Hamas. Who went and killed civilians, innocent civilians? Hamas. Who raped women? Hamas. Who took hostages? Hamas. Who is still holding hostages? Hamas. Well, what's happening in Russia? Who invaded? Russia. Ukraine didn't start this war. Russia did. Who is targeting civilian sites? Well, Russia is. Who is kidnapping civilians and taking them hostage? Russia is. Where's the international condemnation? And can we call it for what it is? Because it is hypocrisy.
Now you see the same thing which is happening, which is causing Ukraine to suffer. It's Russia which is causing the same. Now in Hamas, it is Hamas caused the Israel to suffer, but UN ensured that the fight was stopped. But now here for Russia and Ukraine, they are not ensuring the fight to be stopped. So let the UN not be hypocrites, because if they become hypocrites, yet will show that they are supporting some country, but others they are not supporting according to him. Hypocrisy, it is not good, because being hypocrisy, it will show some countries they are supported, but other countries they are not supported. That is according to this hunger of CBN. This is Stevens, GCN News.